Welcome to the Sports Lounge. I'm Lisa Varga, and you're watching the best sports entertainment show on the web. I'll be talking with players, coaches, and special guests as we cover the hottest topics and highlights of the week for both college and professional sports. And for those of you who are new to sports, I have what we call Sports 101, which will teach you the basics of football, hockey, basketball, and baseball. I'll be talking with the pros and players, asking them questions that will help you better understand the game. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Sports Lounge on sportsloungetv.com. Welcome back to the Sports Lounge. I am here with a very special guest. He is the former Notre Dame Leprechaun, Daniel Collins. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so tell me, first of all, you wrote a book.
I did. It's called Life as the Notre Dame Leprechaun, Behind the Face of the Fighting Irish. It's a behind-the-scenes look at my life at Notre Dame, and it's something the fans have never really seen before, so I'm excited to share that story with them.
How does one become the Notre Dame Leprechaun?
Well, there's annual tryouts every spring, and that will be for the upcoming year, and any Notre Dame student can try out. The overall look counts, but there's no other strict requirements, so it's open to any guy or girl at Notre Dame, and it's actually a pretty grueling process, about a month long, and everybody gives it their all, and then they pick one lucky guy or girl to represent the Fighting Irish on the football field and basketball court for the full year.
Wow, so they can have girls too as leprechauns?
There haven't been any girls yet, but there have been some to try out, and I'm guessing sooner or later there's going to be one lucky girl who's representing Notre Dame.
Well, let's hope so. Go girls. So tell me, give me an example. What did you have to do? Was there an audition? What exactly do you have to do to be a leprechaun?
Sure. Well, they do a lot of game situations, so they'll see who can think on their feet. They'll tell us to go out there and pretend that the cheerleaders are the crowd. So we're at cheerleading practice, and they'll say, you're down by 5 points at the end of a basketball game. The ref makes a bad call. Go out there. What would you do to make sure our crowd stays in the game? They just send us out there. It's not really what you do, it's just how you react that they really look at, and they try to just see who has that spirit most of all, I guess.
Okay, so every college team has its rival. Is it the same for mascots? Tell me, do you have your favorite mascot or least favorite mascot that you could talk about?
We'll start with least favorite mascot. That's a little easier. Everyone thinks that Michigan State's Sparty mascot is the traditional rival of the Leprechaun, but I found Purdue Pete to be my biggest rival during my year. He was not a very gracious host. His cheerleaders actually had to pull him off of me basically at halftime. My favorite mascot actually is not in the college world. After that incident with Purdue Pete, I tried to stay away from other college mascots as much as I could, but I am a big fan of Sabretooth, the Buffalo Sabres mascot. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, so I sort of look up to him as a mascot. You could say he's my mascot idol, I guess.
Now, are there female mascots?
Actually, that's a funny story that I talk about in my book briefly. There was an incident with the Boston College Eagle where I sort of made fun of the Eagle in front of the big crowd that had gathered in the tunnel, and I felt bad afterwards when the Eagle took its head off and it ended up being a female Boston College student. So I apologize to her. It wasn't very gentlemanlike of me, but...
Tell me about some of the different campuses that you have visited when you're on the road. Do you have a favorite?
Well, first of all, it was amazing to see just how much Notre Dame meant to people from coast to coast. There were fans on away campuses, away cities. Everywhere we went, we were pretty much mobbed with fans. My favorite campus, obviously nothing comes close to the tradition and the feel on game day at Notre Dame, so nothing can even match that. But my favorite stadium to go into was probably Michigan's Big House. They hate me over there. As soon as I stepped on their field, there was about 110,000 people booing all at once, but I actually liked that negative energy. It sort of fueled me, and it was a different kind of adrenaline rush. So I liked being in that hostile situation, I guess.
Well, now you know how A-Rod feels, huh?
I guess so.
So Let's talk about your book a little bit more.
Sure.
What made you write this book?
Well, I had so many stories, and actually the fans inspired me to write the book. They were always fascinated with the same questions over and over about being the Leprechaun, what we do behind the scenes, and just some of the stories I had from all the travels and all the different events that I did. So I've always been writing ever since I can remember. I really love just sharing my thoughts through words, and I tried to put that down and really just sat down and tried to just pass on my stories to try to inspire the next generation of fans and hopefully the next generation of Fighting Irish Leprechauns as well.
I am sure you're going to have some very interesting stories to tell in this book.
I definitely have a lot of stories, a lot of variety too, everywhere from frat parties in enemy territory all the way to what it feels like to lead that team out of the tunnel in Notre Dame Stadium. So there's something for everybody in this book.
That's got to be the best feeling in the world. I mean, you look at all the players and, you watch football and all the different sports, and as they come out onto the field or the rinks or the arenas and the crowds cheering, but you got to experience that without getting hit and
Exactly.
beaten up like they do. But explain that feeling, like when you're coming out of that tunnel.
It's hard to describe in person. I tried to capture it a few different times in the book. Hopefully I did a good job. I guess the fans will let me know. But that moment, like you said, there's just an electric charge in the air, and it's tough to describe. It was a tough, really sweaty, hot day the first time I did it. I was getting ready to go out there, and just all adrenaline surging through me, and then right when they gave me the signal to go, all I could think was don't trip in front of 81,000 people. And luckily I didn't trip, and I made it the whole 100-yard sprint, running on adrenaline. It felt like I was running on air out there. So when the crowd stands up and gives that cheer, they lift us right up, and it was amazing.
Okay, so there have got to be some perks to being the Notre Dame Leprechaun. What are they?
Well, besides more Adidas gear than we could ever wear in a single lifetime, traveling with the football and basketball team wasn't bad either. Chartered flights, luxury accommodations, but honestly the best part was just meeting fans from coast to coast. Like I said, Notre Dame means so much to so many people, everywhere from New York City to Texas to California. Just getting to connect with those fans was more than I could ever ask for.
I bet you miss it.
I definitely do. I miss being in the spotlight a little bit. It was a rush every single time. Mostly I just miss connecting with those fans, but I hope that I get to do that through the book. I hope the fans read it, I hope they enjoy it, and I hope they get the same sort of inspiration and feel my spirit through my words as well.
We'll get to the book in a second, but tell me, what do you do now? Like, what do you do after you've had this great experience? You're the Notre Dame Leprechaun. You've had all this recognition and fame, so to speak. What are you doing now? What are your future plans and goals? What do you do after you are the Notre Dame Leprechaun?
Well, life after Leprechaun is a little bit of a shock at first. You have to readjust to not being recognized everywhere and to having more of a normal life. But I actually just graduated from Notre Dame Law School, and I am pursuing entertainment and sports management and representation. So looking to help people inspire others the way that I was in the past, and hopefully continue to do that in the future.
Daniel, I am sure everyone is looking very forward to reading your book. Let's talk about it for a second. So, Life as the Notre Dame Leprechaun by Daniel Collins. Where can we find your book?
It's available now at leprechaunbook.com. I'll also be doing book signings before the Temple and Michigan State games in the Notre Dame bookstore. And again, leprechaunbook.com has signed and personalized copies available starting right now.
I am so excited to read this. If you don't mind, I'm going to keep this copy for myself.
For sure, that one's yours.
Great, thank you. And thank you so much for being on the show.